There's some fireworks going on outside. Hold on.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
Am I gaslighting you now?
You're not gaslighting me because you're not telling me that there are no fireworks. You're telling me that you cannot hear the fireworks.
I mean, I look like I'm in a mental institution right now, so I don't think I am in any position to tell you this.
Josh, tell us about where you are right now. Is it in fact a mental institution? You've just been lying to us about some quote unquote study.
It does look like I am in like a.
You're in like a windowless white room right now.
I am in a windowless white room right now.
Very small.
In order to do this podcast.
And you're in a straitjacket.
That is incorrect. She's now mixing. Aya is mixing fact with fiction. Anyway.
Whoops.
I'm doing a clinical trial or study. You get to make some money this way. And basically I'm spending 2 weeks at this clinic where they gave me this experimental drug for HIV. I don't have HIV. It's in healthy people. And it didn't do anything to me. They basically just draw my blood and check my vitals and stuff for 2 weeks. And otherwise, I just get to chill and play games and meet friends. I made some friends here.
Oh, that's nice.
They're all real. I promise they're real.
Yeah, we all believe you.
Yeah.
Me and all my friends back here that you can totally see as well.
Yeah, so, that's why. So I guess, I can't really gaslight you about these fireworks because I don't know what's real.
Yeah. So what kind of games do you play there? I'm just a little bit curious about your situation there.
Well, I mean, they have like board games and stuff, but you want to know what's really cool? Somebody here brought their Oculus, which is a virtual reality headset.
That's so fun.
And it's the coolest thing. I have been dreaming of virtual reality since I was a child. I kind of tried one of these virtual reality things at a bachelor party a while ago, but that was like the only time I'd ever done it. And now I tried this thing. I'm like, holy crap, this thing costs like what, $300? And it's immersive virtual reality. I was really impressed. So I'm going to buy one as soon as I get out of here.
Awesome.
As soon as I bust out of this joint.
Yeah. As soon as you bust out of the joint, it will have changed.
Yeah, as soon as I get out, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah. That is I didn't want to be the one to tell you, but I guess you have some sources on the outside.
Yeah, I was just guessing, it seemed like.
Do you have outside time or?
There's like a small patio and you can kind of like go there to like, we have scheduled meals.
Yeah, of course you do.
Because of course they want to control for all these variables in this quote unquote study, right? Yeah. I think some people have gone for walks, but I always miss the walks.
Oh my God. What is it like while you're sleeping or something? Well, like a scheduled walk outside of the compound, outside of the jail?
I think they take them a little bit outside. It's not a jail. It's a clinic.
Ooh, outside of the institution.
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. But I've missed them all, so.
Oh my God, Josh, come on, get your shit together.
I'm always sleeping. You know why? Because I was editing our last episode so late. It messed up my sleep cycle.
Oh, so it's my fault you didn't go for a walk.
I wouldn't blame you exclusively.
I'd blame you mostly. It's your fault.
It's basically me. Yeah.
It's basically you. Okay, it's fine. We don't have to play the blame game.
Okay, we've talked enough about me in this study. I want to know how your day is going, Aya. How's your week?
My day's going great. My week is good. Yeah, I'm good.
Aya, come on, you gotta share more than that, all right?
I don't think I do, because I don't really have anything to share.
That's what people who don't want to share always say.
Yeah.
So I can't trust it.
No, but I mean, what can I do? If you haven't noticed, it is a pandemic. Oh, I have news, actually.
Okay, there you go.
I got my first vaccination.
Ooh, when did you get your vaccination?
My COVID vaccination on last Thursday, May 20th. I was like kind of crazy about like signing up. So when it opened up to 18 and plus last Tuesday, I was like there at 7:30 a.m. And you all know how I feel about waking up early. Actually, maybe you don't know. Josh, you know how I feel about waking up early.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan, but I did it for that.
So that's cool. I'm already vaccinated, so that makes me, I guess, better than you. But
although I got Pfizer and you got Moderna,
you're part of the Pfizer family.
The what?
The Pfizer family.
Oh my God.
And I'm part of the Moderna mafia.
All right, I don't want to get into a competition about this with you, but who's better or not?
Segue Queen strikes again. But before we go forward, are you feeling okay after your vaccine?
Yeah, I feel great. I just had a sore arm. Like it just felt like I had worked out one arm extensively to the point of pain. and then like couldn't sleep. But it was fine because it felt like muscle pain, and I feel like muscle pain.
Was it fine or was it fine?
It was fine because muscle pain is very manageable. I feel. What, Josh? You wanna make another fun?
Did you have fun?
A pun? Another pun?
I was trying to do it with the word pain. I was trying to do it with the word pain, but then I realized no, it has to be a word that starts with F.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need a minute?
It's okay.
Yeah. Is it fine?
It's fine. When I got my first shot, actually, I think it was similar. My arm was like horribly in pain, basically, or just like really, really sore for a day or two. But I was otherwise fine. Not fine.
Yeah, it was totally worth it. I was happy every time I felt the pain.
You were like, good, an immune response of some sort.
Yeah, I was. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I got.
Yeah. And then my second shot, which you're way behind, so you don't know. But
go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Yeah, be careful what you say to the Moderna mafia here. We'll come for you. It's at least it's not like being part of the Sputnik spies.
Yeah,
I came up with that one.
My mom texted me while I was like doing the 15-minute wait just to make sure you don't have an allergic reaction afterwards, and she was like, oh, which one did you get? So I wrote Sputnik. Hope that's all right. Like, and I was like, no, I got Pfizer.
You're not part of the Johnson & Johnson Jews?
Yeah. Who's making these up? Is this just you? And why are you picking these terrible?
Okay, the Moderna and Pfizer ones I didn't make up. The other ones I made up because I figure we need one for AstraZeneca. The AstraZeneca like acolytes, the AstraZeneca accidents. What do we want to call them?
Assistants.
I was just thinking the word assistants.
Yeah, the AstraZeneca asses. That's terrible,
asses,
Josh.
Jeez, but you're telling me that?
I didn't say that.
You just said asses.
Yeah, I did. Now I'm gaslighting you. See, that's what gaslighting is.
Oh, thank you for teaching me.
Anytime. Oh my God, this could be the longest intro.
I don't care. This is important. We're talking about important vaccine-related info.
Yeah.
Anyways, the second vaccine shot, I didn't feel that bad, but I know some people. Actually, I've heard that women respond a little bit more harshly to the vaccines than men. It seems to be the case, but maybe that's just anecdotal.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
There's like more going on.
I don't mind. Give me a response. I want to feel the response.
I want to be a masochist.
I want it. What? No,
I know its immune response is good. It means that your body's knows how to
I was so excited. I hate noodles, but I was there like all like, oh my God. And the nurse was like telling me all this stuff, and I was like, I'm so excited to get this. And she was like, what is wrong with this girl? Like, no, I'm sure she gets that a lot, hopefully.
Okay, what are we talking? What's going on today?
Yeah, so today
are we going to welcome everybody?
Are going to welcome you. So welcome back. Welcome back to Adulthood Friends. This is the discussion-based podcast where two former childhood acquaintances, now supposedly friends, discuss the things that
supposedly
matter.
And supposedly is your adverb of the week.
Right. And I'm Aya.
I'm Josh.
And today we've got episode 23. And today, as you know, because you clicked on it, potentially we're talking about competition. So are you competitive? When is it a good thing? When might it be bad? Or how might it become toxic?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with losing? Are you a good loser? Do you have maybe some issues with that? And yeah. Any questions from you, Josh? Anything you want to add?
Nope.
Should we just get into it then?
Yeah, I don't want to compete with your prologue there.
Good. No competing with it.
Yeah, I know how you get.
We all know how I get. Okay.
Let's get into it.
Hi, Josh.
Sup, Aya?
I'm going to start by asking you, even though I kind of know the answer. Are you competitive?
You think you know the answer to this?
I think I know you well enough. I mean, I remember as kids. Actually, it's hard to know. I shouldn't assume that I know. But as kids, I don't know. I don't remember you being excessively competitive.
What do you think? What is the answer to it? Are you saying I'm not?
Well, now I don't know. Now I'm questioning what I thought.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say no. I was going to say like you're a good loser. Like
Thanks, Aya. Just reminded me of all the kids that bullied me in
oh, that
elementary
came
school.
out so wrong.
You're
That
such a loser,
was
Josh.
that was not my
Not
intention.
you're a
I meant
good
like
loser.
I meant you were a graceful loser.
I know what you mean, but any type of so you're just saying I'm a loser either way. Is that what you're
Just meant
saying?
like I meant you're not a dick about it when you lose.
Yeah,
Like
I
you'd be
know.
like,
So not you were being
okay.
nice to me, and I still had to
I
turn it on
was.
you.
It's okay. It came out pretty bad as soon as I heard it. Like but you know what I mean. I meant you're a graceful loser and a graceful winner
Hmm.
as well. You're a
So
good sport. A good sport
yeah,
is what
I
I was looking for. But I actually don't know now. I'm wondering.
well, I'd
Maybe you were
like
kind
to.
of a little okay, I'll let you talk. Okay, go.
Oh no, I want to know what you think now.
No, I don't want to say anything else because I'm just gonna
I'd like to believe that I am like you said, like a graceful winner or loser, but at the heart, I am pretty competitive.
right.
Actually, I do. It's interesting. I think about all these things about which I'm competitive about, but maybe not in like my girlfriend's pretty competitive, right? And like if we're playing like a game, let's say a card game, you ever played Bang?
No.
It's a lot of fun. You should
Is it
anyway.
like speed or something?
No, it's
Sounds
like
like.
a no. It involves like
Is it like
playing.
rummy?
No, it's an actual like you play like these. It's not worth
Is
explaining.
it like Go Fish?
No, it's not like a simple card game. It's like an actual like you have characters and stuff, and you shoot each other, to duel them and stuff.
Is it like Risk?
No, it's more of a
Is it
card. You just,
like Monopoly?
I mean, only in the way that you can destroy friendships. Uh,
Yeah, I've never heard of this game. Okay.
Bang's a
Well,
great game.
I believe you. I
Anyway,
don't know. I've never
like we
heard of
would
it, but
play
okay.
these games with each other, and like she's got that competitive spirit where, like, I love to win, but she definitely frustrates her for a little bit if she doesn't, if she
She
loses.
needs to win. You
She
like to
needs,
win. She needs to win. Is that what
yeah,
you would say?
yeah. I think that's a. I really care about winning. I get competitive, but I don't. I feel like I get fun competitive. I do care
Mm,
about, you know, fairness and sticking to
mm,
the rules. And if I feel like I'm losing due to something being unfair,
yeah.
then that bothers me, and I'll like point it out.
Of course. Yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, like I played a lot of video games. We played like the Nintendo 64, and I have two younger brothers, so we would
Right.
obviously compete with each other,
Yeah.
and play like a lot of like, let's say, shooting games. I remember playing this one game. GoldenEye is a classic, but there's GoldenEye and Perfect
That's
Dark
a good one.
for some of my favorites, and I play with my brothers. But it's, I think, something that's tied into that competitiveness is also like control.
Mm,
I felt like I actually needed a lot of control. I felt like I had this idea of myself as like the oldest brother. My best friend back in Canada still makes fun of me for this, because I always needed to be like controller number one. It really bothered me if I was
uh-huh.
like controller number two or three.
Yeah. You need to be the one
I
clicking
needed to be
all
the one
the
in control, and also number one in my mind. I maybe it's like an obsessive thing, but I'm like, I'm the oldest brother, the middle
mm,
brother. He should be like number two, and then the
right.
next one should be three. I don't know why, but it like bothered me if it wasn't like that.
Mm, yeah.
I can recognize that now as ridiculous, but even to this day, if I'm not the first controller, there's a little bit of a I feel something. Like it feels, you
Yeah,
know.
especially because you're watching someone else do things and you're like, I would do it faster, or I would do it different, or the fact that you see things happening and you're not the one controlling them.
I don't know. There's a bit of that, but also anyway, I
Yeah.
think it's we could talk about how it is, but I think it's tied into
Okay.
competition a little bit. But
Probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
I loved competing with them, but I didn't need to win. I wasn't like angry if I didn't win,
That's good. Yeah.
but I love competition. I'm
Yeah.
big into that. I played sports too when I was a kid, and I wasn't the
Mm.
best at it. So maybe that's why. If I was like, I guess if you're like really good at something and you think you could be the best, that might also contribute.
Sometimes, but I mean,
What about you?
how about me? What?
Are you a pretty competitive person, Aya?
Well, what do you think?
He's turning it all
You've
on
known
me.
me. You've known me for a
Uh,
long time. No, I want you to guess the way I guessed.
you definitely have some competitive ness in you
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And have you seen me as a graceful loser?
Have I played a lot of games with you
I
though?
don't know. Maybe we haven't played a lot of games, like literally since we were children.
We play chess together online,
Yeah, and I already kind of
and I can tell
accepted.
it annoys you. Like every time I win, you accepted that you would lose from the
Uh,
start a bunch because I'm I'm just kind of I've been playing longer. But even so, I can tell that it's I don't know. It's not like yeah, let's do it again. Like, you'll do another one, but it's like
yeah,
every
there's a part of
time.
me that dies every time I lose. No, it's yeah, no, actually it's something I think I've progressed quite a bit on it. Like I used to be pretty bad
Pretty
about
bad.
losing. Yeah.
Did you play a lot of games like in school with your friends? And
I think it mostly came out when I played with my family, like with my brothers. We would play games and I was always the
similarly,
worst. Yes, except I was the youngest by a lot. I still am.
right?
So like my oldest brother's 10 years older than me. My middle brother's 5 years older. My middle brother is extremely competitive, like to the point that he's the one who like
Yeah,
flips the board when he doesn't
Elon.
win or like, yeah.
Really? People
Uh,
do? He's a board.
well,
Is a board
not as
flipper?
an adult.
He
He was a
was.
board flipper as a child, yeah. Or like, I mean, he's just extremely competitive and he is very good at a lot of things, but he's like intensely
Well, it's probably
competitive.
the thing, like being good at. Now, do you think being competitive makes you better at things, or is it because you're good at something that makes you competitive?
I think it's a bit of both because there's got to be a personality type that is naturally going to be better at things. So, like, if you think about the personality traits that make someone good at something, they're
Mm-hmm.
usually kind of, more assertive. There are different traits that make someone competitive. And I think those are the same traits, like the type A traits,
The type A
but they're,
personality thing.
yeah. And they're also the things that can make you pissed off when you don't get your way, right?
Is
Like
that the
part of
same
the
traits that, like, when
drive.
you're driving? Oh, it's funny you said the word drive. I was saying when you're driving a car,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, is that some of the same traits that make you like an angry driver?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like I think it is like that drive, like that need to be better all the time. And it's not just to be better than yourself and to constantly improve, but like to be better than everyone else. And if you're not, then it's like,
Mm.
I'm not that bad. I mean, I'm also not that good at things. So like, I feel like
So that
maybe
makes
that
a
tempers it
difference.
a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if
So I
there's
think
something you're good at, then you gotta be the best. Like this is my thing. I need to win this. This is me. This is what defines me a little bit.
yeah, so it comes out sometimes, unfortunately, and I really try to like rein it in because if I think I'm good at something, it's like I can't like if I lose, it's like I just won't be okay. Like I won't handle it well, whether outwardly or not. Like in my brain, I will not be happy. And I think that like if you're not good at things, so like even so, chess is actually a good example. I kind of recognize, okay, this is not a skill that I naturally have. I'm not great at chess just overall. So when we play,
You're not bad.
I'm in whatever. I'm not bad.
You've been
I
getting better every time. You're gonna get good enough soon that you're gonna get angry when
okay.
you lose.
I don't need your. Well, no, that's the thing. I'm almost better off just kind of being okay with the playing. I play with friends. It's
Oh,
fun. It's
Pandora's
fine.
box has been opened.
Yeah, it's better that I don't get too crazy about it because when I put a lot of effort into it, I'm like, now I need to win. Whereas when I put less effort into it, it's like I can just enjoy it. I can just enjoy the strategy. I can enjoy the fact that I'm connecting with my friends in a like, you know,
Yeah.
gamey way. So that's fine. But when my example with my brothers, I remember when we used to play Risk like almost every week. And I often lost because I would just play. I wasn't a very good player at that. And I would often cry.
Oh.
Also, because they would be like, "Oh, why would you do that?" And like they showed no mercy. I mean, like my brothers are awesome, but like there's no like letting the younger person win in our family. Like you don't let anyone
Yeah, I
win.
don't
No
like
one
doing
is
that.
allowed,
I don't like when people
and no
do
one
that to
should.
me.
No, I
I
don't
had people who
either.
used to let me win at chess and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
That made me upset. I'm like, don't let
that
me
would make me
win.
upset too. Yeah,
Because
I'd be
then
like,
if
"How
I win,
dare
I
you?"
don't, yeah, then I don't earn, I didn't earn the win. Like,
Yeah. And
yeah,
also like, do you think I'm so pathetic that I need you to play not as well? Come on, play well. Like what are you doing?
yeah. No, I think it's better. Have you ever heard this? Like, I think my dad said this to me once, or somebody said it. Like, it's better to be the dumbest of a group of smart people than the smartest of a group of dumb people.
Yeah,
Like,
that's great.
it's
Yeah.
it's better. I do believe it's better to surround yourself with people who are,
People who will challenge you, right?
yeah, exactly. I want to be challenged, and being challenged means you're not necessarily going to win, or
Mhm.
whatever that thing is, but that's how you grow and that's how you improve and get better. So
Yeah.
in recognizing that, I actually love the thrill of a fight, or the thrill of the
Right.
challenge,
Well, that's
and
great.
yeah, sure, there's that little momentary whatever, but so it depends how you define competition. That to me is like real competition. Like,
Right.
just winning against somebody isn't really competition,
No,
you
no.
know.
So competition is kind of having an extrinsic motivation for some or an extrinsic incentive for something. So like something from outside of you that has decided that this is the game and these are the things you have to do to get ahead in it.
Right. Do you feel like as a competitive person, I'm not saying you fully are,
I'm
but
not really competitive anymore.
okay. So, but you understand it well enough maybe to answer this
I do.
question. So, do you feel like you look at things that other people might not even see as a competition as a competition?
Oh yeah, for
Like,
sure.
is driving a competition, for example?
No, driving is not one of the things because I want to just be safe. Like that's something where like you could die. So I don't. Although sometimes if someone passes me aggressively, I'm like, oh, I'll show them, and I'm like, wait, why would I show
That's what I'm
them?
asking. Like, do you suddenly like, oh, it's on?
It does something kind of awakens, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. What am I gonna drag race every like jerk who
Are
passes
you?
me? What? No, but there is some part of me that wants. There's a tiny competitive monster that's like, get him, you'll show him, and it's like, what am I gonna show him? I'm not gonna show them anything. It's not like people who lose are like, oh, you have bested me.
You're
No,
gonna show them what quadriplegia feels like.
yeah, that's a dark joke. That's a
Very dark.
really dark joke.
Well,
Yeah,
both. I
so
mean, not just him, but both of you.
okay, uh, let's not make the car accident jokes.
Well, I
Okay.
think it's important to note what competitiveness in
All right.
driving can
Okay.
lead
Yeah. No,
to.
I'm not a competitive driver. I don't want to be a drag racer. So yeah.
Yeah. So are there other things though, like that you feel you make or someone who's competitive can make into a
Right.
competition that isn't or that shouldn't be?
Uh,
Like really competitive people, even like argument or conversation becomes competitive. There was this guy that I lived with, I won't name names, not that he listens to this, but he lived with me for like a couple of years in this house. And he was always just kind of a dick to me.
mhm.
And I didn't understand why. I was like always trying to be friendly to him.
Classic Josh.
Yeah, and then other people in the house were telling me that, he was doing some similar stuff that I was doing.
Oh.
And he was like, I don't, not exactly, but he was trying to make it in certain areas. And I was seen as like the funny guy in the house. And he was known as the funny guy in his life
Mm.
as well. So he was basically seeing me as his like competition and treated me as such. But I didn't look at him as competition. And so I don't mean that
That kind of
like
gives you
he's,
the. I mean, that
I
kind of
don't
makes
mean,
you sound like you're like I didn't see him as competition.
no, I mean,
I.
I don't see anybody. I don't look at people in life as competition. Is my
Oh,
point.
that's
I
good.
understand how that sounded. Yeah. So but he was acting. He was basically fighting a battle that I wasn't fighting. Like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that straw man thing. Like he's
Yeah.
competing with someone who wasn't competing with him, but he saw it as a competition. And other people in the house were telling me, yeah, he's clearly like competing with you. That's why he's responding this way. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
so then that's part of me recognizes that often in other people, and that's why I'll play the fool or play dumb with people because I want them to feel comfortable
You don't need to.
and not start competing
You
with
don't
me.
need to do that.
I know, but
No, it's not on you though. That's their problem.
I'm
Like
just sensitive
what?
to that.
I know,
So
but I don't think you should have to.
mm,
I mean, if they want to make it a competition, then let them. Like it's their problem. It sucks for them,
well, that led to him treating me badly, though. It sucks for me because he's not being nice to
right?
me.
I guess if you're living with the person, it's a bit
Yeah, I
different.
was living with him. Not only that, I bumped into this guy in France.
Mm.
He happened to be in France at the same time I was there. I didn't bump into him. And I remember meeting up with this guy with my other friend who was also I actually
Mm.
was living with as well. I was like surprised him to let him, I thought, hey, like your roommate's here. And we met and we went to the Louvre together. And I thought this is gonna be fun. And he was just a dick to me the whole time at the
Was he
Louvre.
like,
And it
I
kind
know
of
who the artist of that painting is? And you were like, okay, I'm not
no, he
competing.
was
No, I
just
don't
like
know.
I would ask like an honest, sincere question, and he would just
Yeah.
make some joke about like he'd just put me down constantly. And I was very frustrated. It like ruined my experience at the Louvre.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
like I came back home and I was like frustrated by that when I eventually got back to the house. He came back from France a little later. And I
Mm.
remember telling like my other housemate, like maybe I was just telling myself, I'm going to like when I see him, I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind and tell him how I feel and call him out for
Mm.
this and stand up for myself. And I was so
Yeah.
ready to call him out. And as soon as he got back, he was like, hey, Josh. I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, I just wanted to apologize. I was a real dick to you in France. Uh,
Oh.
yeah.
And did he say why?
He's like, yeah, I was going through some shit and I think I was just taking it out on you.
Mm.
And I'm really sorry and I shouldn't have done that. And I was like, yeah, you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I
Oh.
shouldn't have. It was wrong. And I'm like,
Oh.
it's okay. Suddenly I have to.
Oh.
I
Of
was like, God,
course. I
he,
mean,
he
yeah.
took this from me. He took that. He gets to be a dick, and he gets to take away that moment where I get to stand up to him. Anyway, but I think
you don't really like confronting someone anyways. You're
no, but
just built
I
up.
already built myself up to
Right.
do it though. It
Right.
was like a real, like I was gonna do this. I was so ready, and now he
Right.
fucking apologizes. Like, you think
What a dick.
isn't competition really tied to jealousy as well? Like
I
that's
think
big.
it can be jealousy. It can also just be that, your self-worth is kind of based on being better than other people as opposed to just
Mm,
being okay with however you are. I mean, part of what has helped me is just to be like, you're not in like some imaginary competition with everyone. You can just be you. And one, you'll be less unbearable for people to be around
yeah,
because like nobody wants to be around a person like
it's
that.
better to be kind than to be right.
Yeah, exactly. It's better to be kind than to be right. Like you're never going to be the the smartest or the funniest or the best looking. Like it's not going to happen. There's
I
always going to be
mean,
someone
wait,
better
in
at
the
something
world or in the room?
in the world in general. Like cuz then it's like you always just start competing with something higher than you. If that's what you're doing, right? Like it doesn't make sense to be competing with everyone all the time. Like it's not helpful to you.
No, I mean, look, I don't know if you know this.
I don't.
Did you know that I make movies?
What?
I know it's
No.
crazy.
You've never
Never
mentioned it
mentioned it
or talked
before.
about it extensively.
Never. So in telling you that I make movies for the first time, I'm in an industry where clearly there's a lot of competition. I mean, I think any industry that can happen, but I mean,
Hmm.
like when it comes to like an industry where it seems like it's limited in the amount of people,
Yeah.
especially that can make it, quote unquote, and
Right.
it's also there's a lot of critical judgment of
Mhm.
the work, right? Like movies have reviews out there, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure to do something good and be good.
Yeah.
And if you don't do something well, then maybe you're judged by everybody,
Yeah.
and you might not be considered good at what you do. And this is your passion. So you can see how this lends itself to certain competition.
For sure.
And I went to USC, which is considered the quote unquote best film school in the world. Sorry, that's
Right.
not me. That's the rankings and the Hollywood. What is that?
Yeah, and the competition that they set up there, yeah.
No, this
For
is just
who's the
the rankings,
best
because rankings
school.
are always so helpful and surely not based on anything but the truth. Uh, yeah, no, there's
Well, yeah, we noticed the
I have
sarcasm.
a bone
Don't
to
worry.
pick with
Yeah, we
people.
can see something going on there. Do you have a bone to pick with USC? Would you like to voice it publicly, Grant?
Well, just with the idea of rankings and the idea of
Mm.
obviously USC is like a very expensive school, and a lot of the wealthier people can get ahead a lot more easily. And they call it USC University of Spoiled Children, right? And also, if you're going to be number one in the rankings, I think part of that is the money
Right.
element. I think that because when I went there, I was like, okay, it's a school. There's a lot of good things. There's some bad things, but there's
Hmm.
that. But I think also that feeling or that atmosphere of it being the quote unquote best school in the world, best film school in the
Right.
world. Well,
Yeah.
specifically not just USC, but the School of Cinematic Arts film school at USC. That lends itself to like, oh my God, I'm in the best film school in the world. I have to be good. I have to like, sometimes that's kind of good. It makes people rise to the occasion a little bit.
Right.
But often I think that also makes people get overly competitive with each other. And I think that's really problematic because I mean, I went into this believing the only person you should compete with is yourself.
That's
Be
great.
better than the last. Yeah, be better than the last version of yourself. And I kind of in my mind thought, oh, it's going to be a bunch of mature people here. I mean, I met a lot of mature people in my undergrad when I was
Yeah.
studying neuroscience and stuff. I'm like, I'm sure it'll be the same here. And instead, it got kind of high schoolish again, and people were being kind of fake, and they'd be nice on the surface, but overly competitive.
Mm.
And again, I found like people were competing with me when I wasn't competing with them.
Mm.
And I felt like that often people who did that isolated them ultimately.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in the moment it can feel kind of like, oh, I'm on the bad end of this when they're being competitive with me and I don't want to compete. But actually, that hurt them more than me in the end. I feel the people who were really just good sports and got along with each other, helped each other, celebrated each other's successes. Those people now are connected today and do stuff together. And
Yeah.
filmmaking is one of those things you don't do alone. So
Yeah.
I think that being overly competitive can really hurt you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example because like there are a lot of things that are collaborative or something where having friends helps you. I mean, most things in the world, having friends helps you. So it doesn't make sense to be the person that like I don't care about anyone. I'm doing my thing and I'm going to be better than you. Like, you need other
Yeah.
people. Like, you should be better at being nice to people.
Yeah. A few of my friends now have quote unquote made it. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that sometimes that initial thought that jumps into my head is like, oh, fuck, like these guys got there first or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I've trained myself not to let that negative sort of competitive feeling get
Yeah.
in the way because it's really a negative thing. I don't do what they do. I didn't do what they did. I wouldn't have done what they did. We're not doing the
Yeah.
exact same thing. It's like they put the work in, they earned it, especially if they're like good, hardworking people, and they are.
Yeah.
Like a couple of my friends wrote the second Creed movie, Creed 2.
Mm.
I remember hearing about it. I'm like, I talked to my friend, I'm like, you wrote Creed 2? And he's
Mm.
like, yeah.
Cool.
Well, he's co-writing credit with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, okay.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I loved Creed 1. He's like,
Oh.
yeah, it was great. I'm like, hey, can you like make it good? He's like, yeah, man.
Oh, well, if you asked me, I guess I'll make
He
it
was
good.
like, I'm writing Creed. He was like, I'm writing it. Sorry, at the time. And I was like, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, cool. It was so weird. Like, I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like now stuff that was so distant for me is so close. But it very quickly, especially when it's like, friends, somebody you care about and you do care about their success,
Yeah.
you feel it as actually a little bit like, that's my friend, someone I know, someone I went to school with. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And let's be honest, that can actually only be good for you if your friends do well. One day,
Right.
I can reach
Yeah.
out to my friends, whatever. I'm not saying that's what I'll do. I'm just saying it's better than not, right?
Yeah. And even if it's not clearly, tangibly good for you, it's not necessarily like, oh, they're going to help you or something. It is good for you in general to send out, I think, like happy, positive thoughts to other
Yes,
people,
of
even if
course.
it's just in your head, thinking, I'm
Y-
happy for that person and feeling
Absolutely.
it is so much better for you
Yeah,
than thinking, oh, how did they get it when I'm doing this? And I mean, it's just like you're the only person you're hurting is yourself with that, like,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's a loud siren.
Oh, yeah, you can hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, once, yeah, no
Yeah.
gaslighting there.
I'm not in Los
Um,
Angeles, but we still have sirens.
yeah, these guys, and just so you know, like these guys are doing like awesome now. Like they just wrote the new Space Jam.
Yeah. Oh, so it's the same guys.
Same
That's what I thought you
guys.
were going to bring up. Yeah. That's cool.
They wrote Creed 2. They wrote the new Space Jam. They just made this new Netflix film coming out called They Clone Tyrone. They're working
Okay.
with Jamie Foxx and John Boyega,
That's awesome.
and it's like they've made and they've I think they've done a lot of things. They've really done
Yeah.
well, and they really deserve it. They're two of the most talented and nicest people that I went to school
Great.
with.
Yeah.
I'm a dick if I think anything less than um, good
Yeah.
for them. Like,
And even like it's like the self-interest thing. It's in your best self-interest to
yes,
send out like
yeah,
happy good vibes to
exactly.
other
To
people.
follow up on
And
our last episode.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think but that's the thing. You have to. So I was told this by a rabbi once, and again, I might have brought this up before. It involved jealousy, and I think this is very linked. And we talked about how like, let's say you have a roommate, right? Two roommates that live together. Let's say one's a filmmaker and one's a nurse. You're actually not going to feel as competitive, and therefore you're not going to feel as jealous probably if the other one succeeds because it's like so different from what you're doing.
Yeah.
But let's say it's two nurses living together and one like succeeds beyond the other. They're both trying to make it. Then it's more possible for one to start to feel jealous. And I think that's strengthened more if they're a very competitive person.
That's why my roommate's a cat.
That's why your roommate's a cat. I don't know. I think your cat's trying to do some of the same stuff you're doing, like sleep. Uh,
That's true.
you
No, she's
compete, you
beating me.
compete and sleep with the cat. No,
Hiding, sleeping. What was the first thing you said? Eating?
no, sleep. I said just competing with your cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was talking about how do you stop that? Like, how do you? And he was saying like jealousy is one of those things that he was a rabbi saying that, but I thought this was pretty wise. Um, it's one of those things you want to actually stop, not just in action, but you want to stop it in your head before it
Mm.
even gets to action. It's not just about not doing a good action. You actually have to work on your perceptions and your appraisal of a situation and your feelings. And that's like work that you have to do in your own brain. So similarly, I think, we're talking about competition here. I think it's something that you have to, if your friends are succeeding and
Mhm.
they're doing similar things to what you're doing, friends, roommates, whatever it is, it's up to you to do the work in your head to not let yourself fall to these base animalistic negative feelings.
Mm.
That competition with them when you're not actually competing with them, unless you're actually competing with them, unless you're like doing one of these like game shows and you're competing with each other and you have to like outwit each other. But then even then it's still, you keep that competition friendly.
Yeah, there's still a way to be competitive.
Yeah.
There's still a better way. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm differentiating here is there's times when we're being competitive when we shouldn't be.
Mm.
And then we have to recognize how not to be competitive if we're a competitive person, especially.
Mm.
But that's different also than like, let's say you're actually in a competition, then how do you act?
So there's a quote that's envy shoots at others and wounds itself.
Envy shoots at others and wounds itself. Yes.
I've heard some like variations of it, and
Yeah. And I would say too that like I do differentiate a little between envy and jealousy. I think jealousy is a lot more negative. I think envy is a lot more.
I thought the difference was like jealousy is when you feel like someone is taking something that was yours, and then
Envy is you want
envy
what's
is
theirs.
when you wish you just have what's theirs. Should we look this up?
Difference between jealousy and envy.
Jealousy occurs when something we already possess is threatened by a third person. And so envy is a 2-person situation, whereas jealousy is a 3-person situation.
Really?
Yeah, envy is a reaction to lacking something. Jealousy is a reaction to the threat of losing something, usually someone.
How's that a third person? Jealousy can be just between two people.
It can be. I guess the most common is like jealousy in terms of fearing, like being a jealous boyfriend, fearing that someone's going to take your girlfriend or something.
Oh, that's very specific though. You can be jealous of anything.
You would be envious of other.
Nah, that seems a little bit.
Well, I mean, jealousy is
Really?
okay. I think the most concise here is jealousy occurs when something we already possess is threatened by a third person. So, like, if someone's taking, I don't know, your car, like it's hard to
Yeah,
imagine it
I
not
don't.
being a person,
Maybe
though.
just another person, not a third. Seems
Okay,
kind of
another
weird that it's
person.
a third. I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
trying to redefine it. I guess that just doesn't seem like the definition, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, now I guess we have to look back and consider that for some of the last conversation, we actually intended to say envy and not
I don't.
jealousy.
You know what? I think people know what we mean.
People
But
knew what we
anyway,
meant, but now it's okay to be wrong.
I
That's part
I
of.
but I think jealousy is a negative feeling that we want to nip in the bud right away. I think
So is
envy is an
envy.
well, envy. Yeah, but I think if we recognize our envy, we want to recognize both if we're feeling a little jealous or envious. But we can recognize that we're feeling some envy. You're right. I think they're both something you want to stop.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm sorry. I don't think that one is worse than they're just different. Like it's just different
Yeah.
contexts.
So, anyways, point is though, you want to stop that in the thinking phase. You want to, and I think the first step in stopping that is you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge you're feeling that way. And what is it usually based in? It's based in insecurity. And I think that again, that being overly competitive, I think we're talking about
Or fear.
we have fear and insecurity. Well, that
Mhm.
fear is based often in insecurity, right? We're afraid that we're not good enough, etc.
Yeah, or that we won't get what we want, or
So we're talking about competition. Is that we're talking about being like overly competitive or being jealous.
mm,
Those are bad. Is there a time when it's good?
to be competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it does provide an incentive sometimes to work harder. Like sometimes those hyper competitive people are the ones who succeed at certain things. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it has to be under control enough that it's not harming them. Like
So the idea is be competitive, but be friendly competitive.
as long as you're able to deal with your own competitiveness and it's not something that like hurts you or others around you because of the way that you're acting, like it's like what you said, it's okay to feel that envy or that, but it's a whole different thing to act on it. It's just like anger,
Mhm.
like when we were talking about that.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel those feelings,
Anger
but
is
you don't
another one
always
of
have
those
to act
things.
on them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to once you have it, you can nip it in the bud, and then you can practice and train yourself to respond in a
Yeah.
healthy way to those feelings, and you can rise above your base animal instincts. And I think that comes from our like animal instinct a little bit. Those
The
feelings,
competitiveness for sure. Yeah, I think that
yeah,
makes sense.
or at least though the negative side, the stuff that comes with that. Like, I get annoyed when I watch TV shows and movies where I see, especially like soap operas, where you see people just act outwardly jealous and start saying really stupid things just out of
Mm.
jealousy, and it's very obvious. And I always watch and I go, wow, those characters are dumb. And I don't like that sort of writing because I think that's not realistic. I wouldn't do that. And I really take care not to respond that way. But then you come across people who do. And again,
And
like
you're like, though, you're just like those movies that I didn't believe were realistic.
exactly. It's like kind of like it's kind of like how I didn't believe there were all these dumb people in these zombie movies, and then the pandemic happened, and I'm like, oh yeah, wow, people are even dumber than that. Uh,
Yeah.
but I told you about one of my friends who I got into. He actually got me into filmmaking and everything, but then he became again. I'm saying jealous, but it also is fair to say he got really competitive with me. He because he would see himself kind of above me. It really bothered him that he thought I was encroaching on his space, and he would start to like say things that were like, again, like movie jealousy.
Do you have an example?
I have a few examples of this, I think, but like when I told him that my film got into a festival, I got into a film festival, he was like, oh, that's really it's great, it's great. Yeah, it's good. No, really good job. Yeah, it's great.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like, yeah, clearly you're happy for me, bro.
Oh my gosh.
and he didn't come to the film festival. He said he just couldn't do it. Like, well, the weirdest part was he was the star of the movie. I cast him in the movie too. He was also a filmmaker, but I'm like, dude, this is you can own this achievement as well. Like this is yours. But he couldn't get past that. And then when I got into USC, I remember he was like, most people are like, congratulations, it's hard to get into the best film school in the world. And he was just like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know why you want to, go to more school, but you do you. I mean, that's cool.
Rude.
It was just like, okay, like, and then he ended up going to school himself the next year again to like some sort of film school. And I remember he eventually said to me, he's like, hey man, I just want to let you know, like, we were on the phone once. He's like, I can't hear about I don't think I can hear about all the good things that are happening in your life.
Yeah.
I just can't take that. I guess it was honest, but like it was.
Yeah, really, at least he was honest. Upset. Yeah.
I said, okay, but just for your information, if you can't be happy for what's going on in my life, it's gonna be very hard for me to want to be happy for what's going on in yours.
Yeah.
Like I really would be happy for him. I really had this dream of us doing stuff together and working together. But that was me. I was dreaming of doing stuff together with him, and he was dreaming of beating me. So he was being competitive and I was being collaborative, and I'd rather be collaborative than competitive.
That's great. I think that's...
Oh, that sounds good. That has a nice little ring to it.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'd rather be collaborative than competitive because like I'm not a jerk. No, that's great, Josh. Yeah.
And then we can be competitive. Then we can be competitive together.
Yeah, and then we can be competitive against other people who aren't as collaborative as us.
Yeah, we can be a team competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up the idea of non-striving. Have you ever heard this, Josh?
I have not heard of that, no.
Okay. So it's one of the...
Dr. Ishai.
I mean, this has nothing to do with my doctor, but okay, I will teach you.
Okay, so non-striving.
Yeah, so there's this idea of non-striving. It's one of the pillars of mindfulness meditation, and just mindfulness.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know that crap. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I want to do an episode on mindfulness meditation where I'm going to make you meditate.
Are you going to do that episode by yourself, or?
No, I'm going to make you. You're going to be the subject. You're going to meditate. Okay. You haven't meditated since grade 2, right?
Is it just an episode where I'm going to meditate so hard that you're not even going to hear from me the entire episode?
Good. Wow, that would actually be really impressive.
I know, but it's almost like I wasn't even there at all.
Yeah, but I'll see your... Okay. All right.
I'll just put a photo of me, or I'll just loop a video of me and then send it to you, and you'll think, oh, Josh is really good at this.
Wow, he's so quiet. Of just you with your eyes closed. Yeah.
Yeah, and you ask me questions, I don't respond. You're like, wow, he's really into that.
That's great. Okay.
Non-striving.
Yeah, are you ready? Do you have an open mind right now?
I'm open.
So non-striving and acceptance. So the idea is like to disconnect our energy and emotions that are tied to the outcome of whatever we're doing, and focusing instead on simply being fully present. So instead of focusing, so thinking in the moment. So let's say you're in playing a soccer game, and instead of focusing on the outcome, like, is our team going to win? You're just focusing on being in the moment. I mean, that's not a good example. Let's think of a better example.
No, I get that though. Yeah. Right. Yeah, let's give more examples. Examples are good.
Examples are good. Actually, it came up like when we were doing, I've taken a few different like mindfulness things, and one of them, we did a bit of yoga, And one of the things they tell you is like, don't look around to compare how flexible you are compared to other people, or like, and that was actually
Mm.
really hard for me to do. So I like I've mentioned a million times, I used to do dance, and like
I was actually going to bring that up earlier and ask you if that was like part of your competitive spirit.
100%, yeah, because I don't know if you've ever seen a dance studio, but it's like it's lined with
There's
mirrors on
mirrors.
every
Yeah.
side. All these mirrors, you're supposed to be watching and making sure that you're doing better, and like there's natural competition that comes up. It's a bunch of
Isn't it also for watching yourself though, not for watching
no,
other people?
it's for watching yourself. Yeah, it's not for watching
Yeah.
others. It's for watching
Okay.
yourself, but you're constantly like if I'm trying to do the splits and I see the girl next to me is further down on the floor,
Right.
I'm not doing as well as I should be. Or like they would point out to us like, oh, like this person, like you've got to keep working on these, like, and then other people be like, I need a mat so I can put like, the front leg up
I
higher
don't wait. How do you
to,
compete in doing the splits? I mean, that's practice.
well,
Like you can't
you
do
just keep
better.
doing it. Well, you can, yeah.
You just break your legs. Like if you can't, you
No,
can't,
you don't
right?
break.
You
Um,
can't you can't do it like better than somebody else in the moment. You just have to be flexible enough to do it, right?
no, not in the moment, but it's one of those things that like if you're not good at it, you're like, okay, I have to stretch every day until I can do this better.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was in a class and they said like, so this was part of like the mindfulness class, they were like, you're going to focus on not paying attention to anyone else, just work on it yourself. You're not competing, you're not. And I was like, that is so hard. I'm so used to like, also now because I'm like, I did dance. I'm like, I better be the best. Like, I better be the most flexible in this room of like, who are these people?
Yeah.
That's rude. It's very rude, but that is
What goes into your head.
it's
Those
what goes
thoughts.
into my head. It's what I'm used to. And I mean, even like, and it's not to say that I'm amazing at it, but like, if you're the one who went to whatever school for 15 years, you expect that you're going to have some skills from it. But it was good for me because then you're free. You're kind of freed, like to do the non-striving and just acceptance
Yeah.
of whatever's happening. You're just focusing on yourself. It's a lot better than like looking around, like, ooh, am I
Of
doing better than the
course.
other people?
Yeah,
Just
it's
focus on yourself.
like if you just look forward and like look at
Yeah,
yourself, but like look ahead, don't look back at other people, right?
yeah.
If you just keep focusing on yourself when and look forward, when you finally do look back, you'll be like, oh crap, I'm actually ahead of a lot of people now. Like
But that's not the like that's not the
it's
point,
not the
but
point.
often it does like
That's what I'm yeah.
counterintuitively actually end up with you doing better. Is that sorry, did I
That's
interrupt
my
you? But
point.
yeah, okay.
No,
Okay.
you're right. Thank you for clarifying that. That is my point.
Okay.
The point is not to compare yourself with other people, but then it's just that when you focus, it's just kind of a natural thing that happens when you do focus on bettering yourself and really, commit to that. Then one day when you do look around, you'll
Yeah.
you'll find out, oh wow, like they're kind of in my rearview mirror now. Some of these people,
Yeah.
and you do a better job, is what I'm saying, at getting ahead, quote unquote, if you focus on yourself.
You do a better job. And I think we can take out the getting ahead. Because even if you don't
Yeah.
end up getting ahead, you still do a better job. So if I'm not looking
I don't
around,
mean
it
getting
doesn't
ahead of
matter.
other people. I mean getting ahead of where yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So even if I'm not looking around, then I can actually focus on what I'm doing the best, and I will be better than I like your example of just being better than yourself yesterday.
Mhm.
Or just being the best you can be right now and not worrying about how you were yesterday or how you'll be tomorrow, but just
That's
like,
true. Yeah. Yeah. But I do think it's okay to be competitive with yourself to a degree, but you also have to practice treating yourself with kindness and respect.
yeah, you're also going to get
And
older and you're not going to get better at things.
some things yes, some things no, right?
Yeah, but I just mean like in terms of physical activity, you're probably not going to be
It's
getting
not gonna
better
be
at it.
easier to do the splits as you get older.
No. Yeah.
But I was thinking about it because like I know some people, and some of them are my friends, who get a little, we'll say, pretentious about a subject.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems
Are you
that
talking about me right now? I feel like you're talking about me.
I wasn't, but I guess the fact that you thought I was means that you relate to this. Um,
Okay.
well, I'm
Yes.
thinking of this one friend, and again, this is one of my like best friends. I love this guy, but
You love this guy, but here's a bunch of terrible stuff I'm going to say about
it's
him right
not
now.
terrible. It's not so terrible. It's a natural thing.
Josh.
I mean, he went to school for screenwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think this is easy for a lot of people to relate to, but like he put years and years of work into being a screenwriter and doing that. And so he can call himself a screenwriter. So he wrote scripts so he can call himself a screenwriter, right? Suddenly he sees there's a bit of a hierarchy to it, right? That's how it starts to
Mm-hmm.
feel. And then somebody else comes along one day in our group and she's like, I want to write. I want to write too. Can I write one of these? We were working on a project together, these episodes for a show. She's like, can I write this thing? And I could sense immediately in him there was like pushback there. I hope so. God, if he's listening to this right now, like this is a natural thing. I think it happens with a lot of people, and he's very incredible at what he does. But yeah, there was definitely some pushback to this other person writing now, and it was like we were both trying to figure out like why can't she just write? Like let her try. It's she could be all right. And in his mind, again, there's a hierarchy to this thing. You have to go to school for this. You have to do this. You have to do that. If you're going to do it, you have to start here and start there. And I'm just basically like, I'm sorry, it's not how it works. Like you went to school for you you knew that was the best way for you to improve and get better. It's not to put you ahead of other people. She might take a different path, and that's fine. And I'm sorry, like things like writing, like anybody can do it. You can perfect your work, but it's a subjective thing. It's a very personal thing.
All you have to do is be literate and you can write. And even that, you don't really have to.
Yeah, he was feeling very competitive there, I can tell. And I think part of that is the amount of work you put into something. The amount of effort and time that you put into it makes you feel like it's a ladder a little bit, and you're farther up this ladder. And in that case, I guess you respect people more, at least that have climbed that same ladder as you. And where along that ladder they are is where you feel like they're worthy competition or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that it was like it started to feel threatened just by the idea of somebody not even going to the ladder, like just going in the door in the side of the building, I think that's like not a healthy way of thinking either, right? It's really about, like we were saying, focusing on you and what's best for you, competing with yourself, not with other people. Because again, if you compete with other people in that regard, that's a really easy way to go off track. Like if there is just one like way forward, I understand that a little better. But if there's like multiple ways forward, you want to stay on your track and how you improve. If you're like going down your path and you see somebody else did it a different way, and suddenly you feel threatened by how well they've done, so you like quit the way you're doing it, and then you start competing with them in their zone, that's like really unhelpful.
Yeah, to everyone.
You're already the way that you're doing it.
Focus on your own improvement.
Focus on your path.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways to get to the same place, and to recognize that means, I mean, maybe this is a good way of looking at it. I was saying like two people who are doing the same thing feel more competitive with each other, and jealousy can come out of that and all that stuff. Well, don't look at it as you're doing the same thing. Look at it as, even if you're doing the same thing, you're taking different paths, maybe to a similar kind of result. So you can still look at it as you're doing very different things, even if you're doing the quote unquote same thing. Yeah.
I think it's some good advice for us.
Hope that was clear.
I think it was. Yeah. I think that was a good spot to start wrapping up. That's some good advice.
Oh yeah. You don't have any other notes to touch on there, Aya?
I mean, I was going to talk a little bit about fear of failure. You know how like often
wait, bring up fear of failure, like so you're excited about it a little bit. So
I guess it's just I think sometimes like you can almost give up before it. Sometimes it's the hyper competitive people who give up before they've really tried, because if you really try and you fail, then it's like, then you really have to feel that failure. Whereas if you don't really try, it's like, oh, I didn't even really try.
Right.
And I think I'm often one of those people too. I really relate to that.
But I would argue that because I think healthy competition is a good thing, and true competition, if you're being truly competitive, then fear of failure isn't part of that spirit.
I mean, but fear of failure is a very common feeling in competition.
I know, but I think
you're just saying it's not part of healthy competition.
Yeah. If you're truly like a competitive, we're talking about being competitiveness as like a bad thing, but I think there's two types of competitive a little bit, right? There's unhealthy and healthy competition. Healthy competition, the kind that is actually, good for you and getting ahead for yourself. I think that involves beating fear of failure. Like being competitive means not being afraid to fail. That's like true competition. It's like true healthy competition. Unhealthy competition, I think that fear of failure is, I don't know. I'm not saying you shouldn't have fear of failure, but I mean like acting on that fear of failure. Like being afraid to compete because you have a fear of failure isn't really being competitive, is it?
No, it's kind of opting out because of the feeling of competitiveness.
Yeah, so that's unhealthy to me, competitiveness. And then like getting past that feeling is healthy competitiveness, right? It's making it about,
but
it's making about your own growth.
Yeah, isn't there something, in some ways I think like competition can be harmful in that it can take away from our natural motivations or our natural,
or enjoyment,
like
I
our
guess.
intrinsic motivations or our intrinsic, just the incentive just to do
Oh,
something, to do it. Instead, it becomes something where it's to get something or to,
that's true. I
you know,
mean, that
so
can happen
it
to a
can
lot of people.
replace that. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to be careful not to let it replace that.
Right. Yeah.
I do you feel like my last question to you is: do you feel this podcast? Have you ever felt competitive with me doing this
No.
in any way?
No, I guess not. I don't think so. I guess I should think about that. Oh, there was one time when your friend said that I was funny, and you were like, "But what about me?" And I was like, "Hee hee hee, they think I'm funny." But that was it.
You're like, I want to be funnier than Josh on the podcast.
No, I don't know that I wanted to be. I think I liked the idea that people found me funny. Not that they didn't find you funny. I'm sure they did. But there was
You
an
do. You're naturally
that's not
funny. You don't
really.
have to even try.
Oh, thanks. I think you're so nice. And like at every moment, I feel like this podcast would not happen without you. So I don't see how I
Well, that was
could
nice of you.
be competitive with you. No, seriously. Every day that we do it, it's because of you. Because I am like, I'm so, I mean, we talked about this in Burnout. We talked about it in like, yeah, that was the main one where we talked about it in Burnout. I was going to say laziness and I'm like, that was the same episode. Yeah. Like I would be like, I don't feel like it. Let's just skip this week. Maybe we'll do it next week. And you're like, no, no, we do it every week. And even just having the conversation, I'd be like, all right, 30 minutes, we're good. Bye. And you know, you keep the conversation going and it's good. Like
Oh,
it would never happen without you. Like I think every time I have even like a little spark of feeling like, oh, should we be competing with each other? You'll say something nice to me. And I'm like, oh, what a lovely person. I hope the best for him too. You know? You're like the nicest dude.
oh, you're so nice too. But also you put
I'm not
you
that
sell
nice.
yourself
I'm not as nice
yourself
as
a
you
little
are.
short. Look how nice you were just now. It was so nice. I'm like,
Well,
I'm getting a little emotional.
oh God.
You're like,
Don't
God,
get
no.
emotional. No, it's okay.
It might be, maybe it's the drugs they're pumping me full of. No.
Yeah, maybe it's the drugs and the straitjacket. You're just
They've taken a lot out of me, like my blood. They've
yeah.
taken a lot out of.
Oh, they literally have taken a lot out of you. Yeah.
Literally taken a lot out of me.
Oh,
There was one day where they
yucky.
just like kept drawing blood like all day. I'm like, geez, how much blood can I give? It was one of these
No.
days. I had a catheter in my arm set up and they just,
Stop, stop,
yeah.
stop, stop, stop. We're good. Thank you. No more. Okay, bye.
So I just want to say, Aya, that's
Yeah.
mutual. The feeling is mutual there. And I brought that
Oh
up
yeah,
for a reason because
do you feel competitive with me? Oh,
I do not.
that's good.
But you're like, what do you mean? What do you think? I'm not worth competing with?
No, I said that's good. I said
I
yeah.
know, I know. But
Yeah.
what I mean to say is it's like this is a perfect example of being competitive with each other here would ruin this. This thing happens
Yeah.
because not just of me, it's because of both of us doing it. So it's collaboration over competition.
Well, I can't even imagine like would we be fighting to talk? I guess sometimes we do.
Well, this one seems so obvious to you that you like we're doing a podcast together, we're co-hosting it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be competing. But people have to realize that's how you should feel about a lot of the, if you're like I said in film school, see it the same way. We're all in this together.
But we don't always need the other people.
It depends on what you're doing. There's some very isolated things that you're doing, and I can see how that
Yeah.
feeling can come on more strongly. But a lot of times, yeah, it's much more having other people in general and having people who understand. Like, think about it. People who do what you do understand what you do a lot better. You want those people in your court. You want to grow with those people, not against those
Yeah,
people.
that's true.
Even if you're not like literally
I wish someone
collaborating.
had given me that advice like years ago because I think I really didn't understand that until later. So if you're young and you're listening to this,
They weren't giving that in the dancing studio.
no, because it also wasn't a team thing. It's an individual thing. And if you're the best, then you get the solo.
Oh, I see. So there really is so things like that really do foster sometimes unhealthy competition.
Yeah. Oh, it was I think it was extremely unhealthy because it was like if you get apart, it's like everyone hates you a little bit.
Oh,
Or if you even get like the spot in the front, like they would tell us like sometimes it's not just going to be like by height. We're going to put the better dancers in the front. And we're like, okay.
There's some Black Swan shit
Oh
going
yeah.
on
Oh,
there.
it's so messed up. Yeah.
I remember going to prom a long time ago. Obviously a long time ago. And we go to like Grand Bend and stuff afterwards after prom.
I didn't, but okay. Yeah. People do
Okay,
that.
so a lot of people did. And I went with someone to prom, but I don't think they didn't come with me afterwards to after prom. And I remember like walking around with some guys and we're just like looking for stuff to do or a party to go to or something there. And I guess this girl came by and she was like, they were like, yeah, there's some, we can get you into this like really good party, like follow me. And I followed her and she's like, wait a second. And she felt that she had to like, for us to get in, she had to arrange us by who was seen.
What?
Like, she wanted to put like the best looking people basically
Clearly.
in
Yeah.
front of this group.
That's so
So
funny.
when they like, brings them to the door to let them in the party.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, she points at one, there was a few of us there. She points at this guy. She's like, all right, you come up front, you here, you. And she comes to me and she goes, and you. And then she goes, actually, and then she goes, she goes, yeah, you gotta hit the gym a little bit, right? And then like, and she's like,
no,
maybe
she
not.
Didn't
And
say
she
that part, no, but
she did basically. No, she basically said that.
She said you have to go to the gym.
She's like, basically, yeah, like you gotta work out a little, do stuff. She said something like that, yeah. And she's like, you gotta
just to get into the party. So you're like, okay, go, and then you went and like.
No. She was, I did it real quick. Time froze. I went and did a whole Rocky thing, and I came back. Rocky montage. No, and I remember feeling like weirdly terrible about that. Like suddenly I had to compete. I started to get that feeling of like competing with people around me. Yeah. But then I remember thinking, I was also feeling like kind of okay about it because I was like, okay, so my problems are overcomeable. Like,
yeah, it's true.
This is something that like, I apparently, according to her reaction, I have something inherent that's okay.
You have some potential. I
have potential and I can reach it. It's not like unreachable for me.
Yeah.
But I felt kind of terrible too overall.
It's funny. That's hilarious.
It's objectively hilarious though.
It is objectively hilarious. Yeah. Just like the decision making there too. Yeah.
She was literally stuck. Like we were like on our way somewhere and the other people were just like you. And she said you really fast to me. And then she like went, she like pulled back. Like she started thinking about it. Like really could have gone either way.
Yeah. That's funny.
And I think that feeling, but the truth is I like internalized that a little bit ever since that day. Yeah. Like I've always kind of felt that way about myself. Like,
right. I feel that way about you too. Just kidding.
But when it comes to my self-esteem a little bit. So I have a sense of humor about it, I think, to mask that sort of
I know, but
potential insecurity. I guess that's like there's an insecurity, but it's not like it's because I'm really genuinely uncertain sometimes of where I fall.
I mean, welcome to life. I think you should be glad that you're not a female, because I think we deal with like a lot of that comparisons. I mean, we've talked about that.
Super glad. Yeah, really happy.
Talked about that
I'm
a lot.
really happy that I'm not a woman. Yeah, really. Like I wake up every day.
Okay, and relax. Glad. Okay, you're a little too happy now.
And I thank God.
You know, there's actually a prayer. Are you referencing the prayer that?
I know there is. Actually, I'm remembering that as they say that. Yeah,
there's a prayer.
For those listening, I'm making a joke. I mean, I'm happy that I'm not, but I'm making a joke. No.
Well, I mean, it's fine. You are whatever you are. So
what are we talking about today? Is it competition? Take us out of here, Aya. Let's end this episode.
All right, let's take us out. So this has been another episode of Adulthood Friends. If you liked this episode and would like to continue listening, please do the subscribe or follow or whatever thing on whatever you're listening on. And if you don't like the thing that you're listening on, then find us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. Or
wait a second. What if that's the thing that they're listening on?
But maybe they don't like it, so they can find us on a different one.
Right. And they should also like us on Facebook. That's a big thing for us.
And we have a Facebook page that Josh keeps updated well. And actually, we answer stuff, I think.
Yeah, we like to interact on there.
We like to interact. So I think that's about it. Anything else, Josh?
You're ready to go.
It's really nice to see you, but I know you only have 2 hours in your little special room.
I do have a special room. My special room in my special place.
Special room. Yeah.
How do we usually end this, Aya?
Oh, you want to end already? No, I don't want to.
I'm a big feminist. I need to say this. I'm a proud feminist. All right.
Nobody believes you anymore.
I am. I mean it sincerely.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.